2 kids kidnapped, one's throat cut in Mississippi. A man lured 2 brothers, ages 5 and 8, from their yard in South Mississippi and took them to his camper trailer, where he sexually abused them and slashed the older boy's throat, authorities said Thursday. The 8-year-old boy is hospitalized and is expected to survive the Wednesday attack, said Don Bass, chief deputy with Hancock County Sheriff's Office on the Mississippi coast. Bass said the older brother, with his throat cut, escaped the suspect's trailer Wednesday evening and ran about 500 yards to a neighbor's house. The neighbor called police. The children were abducted Wednesday afternoon from a residence in Pearl River County and taken to the trailer in rural Hancock County, where he sexually abused both boys. Hancock County Sheriff Ricky Adams said in a news release. Bass identified the suspect as James H. Smith, 41. Smith was released from prison to house arrest in June after serving a few months of a lengthy sentence in a racketeering case involving methamphetamine and assaulting a police officer, according to corrections officials and court records. It was not immediately clear whether Smith had a lawyer. An attorney who represented him in the racketeering case did not immediately respond to a phone message Thursday. He was being held on $3.5 million bond, Bass said. Shane Tucker, chief deputy with Pearl River County Sheriff's Department, said Smith is a cousin of the boys' fathers lived in Euroland. He said Smith had not been around the boys much, but was familiar with them, and lured them away while they played in the yard. After the older child escaped the Smith's trailer, Bass said Smith grabbed the younger boy, put him in a car and was trying to get away when Hancock County Sheriff's Deputy Tommy Bethia spotted them and blocked the car's path. The suspect jumped out of his car and Bethia was able to rescue the 5-year-old, Bass said. Authorities said the older boy's escape and the information provided by his brother were instrumental in their survival and the case against the suspect. Those boys did an amazing job, Tucker said. Bass said Smith tried to get away by running through thick woods but was caught about 8 p.m. a few miles away on a highway. Smith hurt himself somehow in the woods and was treated for injuries, Bass said. The 8-year-old was airlifted to a hospital in Mobile, Alaska, and was in stable condition on Thursday, Adams said. Smith has a lengthy criminal record, Tara Booth, a spokeswoman with the Mississippi Department of Corrections, said Smith was sentenced to more than 4 years in 2006 for receiving stolen property. His probation was revoked in January 2011 for failure to report and pay fines, and he was sentenced to more than 2 years. He was sentenced in February to 20 years in the racketeering case, with 5 years to serve and 15 years on supervised release. But the court also ordered that Smith could be released to house arrest after completing a drug and alcohol program, according to court records. He was released to house arrest June 19, Booth said. It's a shame, Tucker said. If he had been serving his sentence, he wouldn't have been free to commit this crime. Troops clash in South Sudan, African states mediate. South Sudanese government troops battled to regain control of a flashpoint town and sent forces to quell fighting in a vital oil-producing area on Thursday, the fifth day of a conflict that has deepened ethnic divisions in the two-year-old nation. The conflict, which has so far killed up to 500 people, has alarmed South Sudan's neighbors. African mediators held talks with President Salva Kiir on Thursday to try to broker peace, and U.S. President Barack Obama urged the clashing factions to stop fighting. The clashes that erupted around the capital, Juba, on Sunday night have quickly spread, pitting loyalists of a former Vice President, Riek Machar, against Kiir, a member of the dominant Dinka clan. Machar, whose dismissal in July led to months of tensions, has denied Kiir's accusation that he had led a coup attempt. Rivals have fought fierce gun battles over the town of Bor north of Juba, the scene of a 1991 massacre by soldiers loyal to Machar of hundreds of Dinkas. Thousands of people have sought refuge in UN bases, including 200 oil employees in the main crude-producing region. UN officials said one base in Jonglei State, where Bor is located, was breached by Nuer and there may have been deaths. The fighting adds new instability to an already volatile region of Africa, derailing the young and undeveloped nation, halting its efforts to build a functioning state. A team of mediators sent by the Addis Ababa-based African Union arrived in Juba for talks, an Ethiopian official said. Representatives were from Ethiopia, Kenya, Uganda, and Rwanda, the first major peace initiative since clashes first erupted. The African Union is until now meeting with the president, spokesman Antony Wek Antony said, without giving details of the team. Their message is that they are trying to broker peace between the two forces. Antony said Bor was in the hands of Machar's forces. Bor has surrendered actually because the forces that were in Bor were mainly loyal to Machar, he said. They control the town, but government forces are trying to retake the town. In Washington, Obama issued a statement saying the conflict threatened to derail progress South Sudan has been making since gaining independence. Inflammatory rhetoric and targeted violence must cease, Obama said. All sides must listen to the wise counsel of their neighbors, commit the dialogue, and take immediate steps to urge calm and support reconciliation. Oil-filled clashes. Jody Jungley Boyoris, a senior official in Juba, said his family were trapped in Bor and were trying to reach a UN camp for safety. There is no fighting at all because those soldiers who were in Bor town evacuated as of this morning, he said. UN diplomats have estimated between 400 and 500 dead in the clashes and say about 20,000 people have flocked to the bases of UN peacekeepers for refuge. But the United Nations said its 7,000 to 8,000 peacekeepers will not intervene in the conflict. A UN base in Akabul in Jonglei State was attacked on Thursday, and the United Nations received reports that some people have been killed. Deputy UN Secretary General Jane Eliasson said the situation in Jonglei has deteriorated. He said. A UN spokesman said the 200 or so oil workers who fled to a UN base in the Mentu oil-producing area were expected to be evacuated by their company, which he did not name. Mabek Long Dimaiding, Deputy Governor of United States, one of the main oil-producing areas, said forces were sent to Unity Field, where 5 people were killed after workers fought with spears and sticks, and to Thar Jas Field, where 11 were killed. It is stable now, he told Reuters. China National Petroleum Corp, India's ONGC Videsh, and Malaysia's Petronas are the main firms running the oil fields. Total has exploration acreage in country. South Sudan, a nation the size of France, has the third largest reserves in sub-Saharan Africa after Angola and Nigeria, according to BP. Oil production, which had been about 245,000 barrels per day, supplies the government with most of its revenues. As tension in South Sudan mounted following the sacking of Machar, the former vice president said Kerr was acting like a dictator. The president said his rivals were reviving the splits of 1991 that led to bloodshed. South Sudan declared independence from Sudan in 2011. A precedent dispute with Sudan over their border, oil and security have added to the sentence of crisis. The row led to the shutting off oil production for about 15 months until earlier this year, slashing state revenues and undermining efforts to improve public services in a nation of 11 million people, but with barely any paved roads. Almost 90 hurt as ceiling collapses at London Theatre. Emergency services said nearly 90 people were injured on Thursday when part of the ceiling collapsed during a performance at a packed London theatre, bringing the city's West End entertainment district to the standstill. The audience was showered with masonry and debris following the incident at the Apollo Theatre, where about 720 people, including many families, were watching the hugely popular play, The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. Emergency services said 88 people were injured. They described 81 as walking wounded, many with head injuries, while 7 others were taken to hospital with more serious injuries. Nick Harding from London Fire Brigade said a section of the ornate plaster ceiling, measuring about 10 meters (33 feet) by 10 meters, had fallen onto the audience watching the evening show. The ceiling took parts of the balconies down with it, he said. Everyone is out of the building, and everyone is safe, he added, confirming there had been no fatalities. He said it was too early to speculate about the cause, but police said there was no suggestion that it was the result of any deliberate act or attack. There was no indication either that heavy storms earlier in the evening were to blame, and investigations would continue through the night, Harding said. Witnesses said they saw the ceiling in the four-story auditorium suddenly collapse during the performance, creating panic when those inside realized it was not part of the play. We saw the ceiling give away and it just dropped down onto stalls. There was dust everywhere and people were screaming. Steve George, 29, who was sitting in seats at the top of the theater, told Reuters. I have no idea how many people would have been injured, added George, a cinema manager who had taken his wife Hannah to the show for a birthday treat. It became like a black mist with people walking over me, added Michelle Chu, another member of the audience. Emergency vehicles blocked off Shaftesbury Avenue in the heart of London's Theatreland, packed with revelers on one of the busiest nights of the year in the week before Christmas. People were running in here with dust all over themselves, said Thomas Ashton, manager of the McDonald's restaurant located on the same block. He said people were being brought out by paramedics, shrouded in plastic blankets, with some carried out on stretchers. Those injured inside the Apollo, which first opened its doors in February 1901, were taken to the nearby Gielgud Theatre while a bus was being used to transport those needing hospital treatment. In my time as a fire officer, I've never seen an incident like this. I imagine lots of people were out enjoying the show in the run-up to Christmas, Harding said. Gay couple wins lottery to marry on Roses Parade float. Amid the floral floats, spirited marching bands, and high-stepping equestrian units at next year's Tournament of Roses Parade, a gay couple is set to marry. On New Year's Day, with tens of millions watching, the two grooms, Aubrey Lutz, 42, and Denny Leclerc, 45, of Los Angeles, will profess their love on a giant wedding cake-shaped float, a first in the parade's 125-year history. No sense of doing it small, said Denny Leclerc on the phone from his office in Los Angeles. A play on the parade's 2014 theme, Dreams Come True, and sponsored by the AIDS Healthcare Foundation. The float will celebrate same-sex marriage and the role it can play in helping to reduce new HIV infections among gay men. The Supreme Court's decision earlier this year to strike down parts of the Defense of Marriage Act is what many gay couples like Leclerc and Lutz have been waiting for. The two, together for 12 years, celebrated a commitment ceremony 5 years ago. The two hope for something more. The opportunity to get hitched presented itself in October when Leclerc attended a same-sex wedding expo and applied for a chance of a lifetime, the chance to marry on top of the 2014 Roses Parade. Leclerc submitted an application and quickly fired off a text to his boyfriend with the picture of two grooms accompanied with the phrase, "Will you marry me?" 5 weeks later the two were selected. For a couple accustomed to living a spontaneous life, the unorthodox wedding announcement didn't surprise a lot of friends, said Leclerc, laughing. Shortly afterwards, the two were peppered with warm thoughts and well wishes from around the world on their Facebook page. Leclerc and Luz will be married by a minister as they pass down Colorado Avenue in Pasadena. Leclerc said he's unsure what the two will wear, but promised their outfits will incorporate their own personal style. And to make the ceremony more personal, Leclerc said that he will read one of his favorite Nelson Mandela quotes in homage to the South African civil rights leader and his boyfriend, who both are from South Africa. Although California permits same-sex marriage, there is no same-sex marriage in 34 states, and the rights of gay couples are restricted in many parts of the country. We are standing up to all that, said Leclerc, who hoped the opportunity of tying the knot in front of a worldwide audience of about 80 million will expand the conversation on gay and lesbian rights. We are standing up on that cake so that we hope it will expand the conversation. Leclerc added, "We are responsible for changing people's minds. We need to say whom we love without shame." Babies abound at penguin colony found by poop. A recent visit to a remote Antarctic emperor penguin colony found thousands of fuzzy penguin chicks, meaning the colony is even bigger than previously thought. A team from Belgium's Princess Elizabeth Antarctica Polar Research Station estimates there are 15,000 penguins living in 4 groups at the colony on East Antarctica's Princess Raghchild coast. The team counted the number of chicks demanding regurgitated meals from their parents to gauge the total colony size, because the adults were off fishing for food. The good weather this season gave us the opportunity this season to spend a bit more of time counting individual emperor penguins, said Alan Herbert, the expedition leader and founder of the International Polar Foundation, which designed and built the research station. What surprised me is that each group was 5 to 7% chicks. It means that it is healthy rookery. This opinion can be reinforced by the fact that I didn't find more than 5 dead little chicks at the overwintering place, Herbert told Life Sciences Our Amazing Planet in an email interview from Antarctica. A December 2012 expedition from Princess Elizabeth Station marked the first time humans saw this colony of flightless birds. The colony was suspected to exist because their poop was spotted by Statelight in 2009 leaving light brown trailers on the ice. This year's penguin count confirms the accuracy for the Statelight monitoring. Hubert said, "We found a real rookery about 15,000 individuals, and in a very good health, at a latitude of only south 70 degrees, a position which is critical for most of colonies in West Antarctica." Hubert said, "This is a good sign for the survival of the species." The team found only about 100 adult penguins along the shoreline, where the ice meets the sea, compared with about 1,000 adults last year. Hubert said, "They might all be gone fishing," he said. Other birds sighted during the trip include Adelie penguins and skuas, a type of seabird that preys on penguin chicks. The baby penguins were further inland, slowly migrating toward stable sea ice about 6 miles (10 kilometers) from their overwintering spot, where their fathers huddle together for warmth and tend their eggs. After winter ends, parents make trips to the sea to deliver meals to their chicks. Hubert and field guide Christopher Bergklatz had to pick their way down a 130-foot tall, 40 meters ice cliff to find the waddling groups of penguins. Pesky penguins. Seeing the fuzzy penguin chicks demand a vomited-up meal was Hubert's favorite part of the few hours spent at the massive colony. "They are so cute and funny, especially the chicks bothering the parents without interruption to try to get fed. I can't get tired of looking at them," he said. Emperor penguins are the largest penguin species and stand on average about 55 inches, 114 centimeters tall, and weigh 90 pounds, 41 kilograms when full grown. Statelight imagery has helped find previously unknown penguin colonies in Antarctica, expanding their known population, but the future of penguin species remains uncertain as global warming changes Antarctica's climate. The hilarious X-rated reason Jennifer Lawrence wants to be a hotel maid. It's always good to have a fallback plan. Jennifer Lawrence started the year by winning an Oscar and capped it off by getting a Golden Globe nod for American Hustle. But the 23-year-old actress said that if her career had never taken off, she would have loved to have been a hotel maid. Jennifer Lawrence says it should be illegal to call somebody fat. "It's all of my favorite cleaning. I don't like dishes and I don't like the kitchen, but I love beds and bathrooms and spraying, and going through everybody's stuff," she explained to Conan O'Brien. "Like every day there's a new people to snoop on. It would be my dream." She knows from experience the types of things hotel maids can find in their guest's room. In one instance, the Hunger Games star said that she has given a copious amount of butt plugs, all different fits and colors, as a joke, and tried to stash them under her hotel bed. Jennifer Lawrence and other celebrities who had Monster 2013. Then I came back and all of them were brought out of the bed and were in this beautiful display on my bedside table, she said. I think she knew what she was doing. They were under the bed. I wanted to leave a note like, "Not mine.